Hello, it's Nancy today. I'm all worn out from digging up the asparagus. I covered over the first clump that I found, the big huge clump, because I'm out of energy and I can't transplant it all today. So I covered it over so it won't get dried out. And then I dug around some other plants, other asparaguses, and I removed a whole bunch of sod and roots from the top. And I found lots of asparagus shoots growing. But I'm out of energy now. And so I've come into the teepee. You see, that's where we are. This is the main teepee. It's on the other side of the valley from the house. You can see it from the house. It's on what I call the plateau. And it's sure big a mess in here. We had that party back in the winter, and I don't think we ever cleaned up after it. Here's the shovel from digging. We had to dig down about 4 feet to get into here because the snow was so deep. And it's just a big mess. I guess I'll have to come out here and do a good cleanup job to make it nice and inviting. It's a wonderful teepee. You can make a teepee like this if you wish. You see, you just start with 15 cedar poles, take the branches off, and you tie 3 of them together. You do it like this. You put 2 like this and 1 like this. I'm pretty close to the camera there. Anyway, I'll draw it on the ground. Okay, so what you do is you take a pole and lay it like that, another pole beside it. Now these poles need to be 23 feet long. At 19 feet, mark it. Okay, and then you take a third pole. I can't even see my lines now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these 2 are there, and they're marked at 19 feet. And this one is here, and it's marked at 19 feet. Okay, so you do your Girl Scout, Girl Guide lash. You go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, until you've got, it's like figure 8s around all of them, right? Then what you do is you lift these 3 poles up and set it on a chair. And then you come out to the end of this pole and you walk it forward and you stick it back in the ground. You just, if you need to use a shovel, stick a shovel there at the end of the pole so it won't slide. And what's happening now is this is rising. And so you've got your 2 that are going up and then your other one which is also going up. And this one becomes the one that is going to push the whole teepee over until it's all standing up like that. And then when you get it up, you pull one of those 2 out, you walk it around, and you make it into a tripod so they're all equal distance. That's the biggest part. When you tied them together, make sure you have a long piece of rope left over. And when you get them up, then you can lay your other poles in. Walk around putting your poles in. There's probably a perfect way to do it, but I didn't. I tried it the perfect way and it didn't work out, so I just put them up anyway. And then you take that long string and you walk around the outside of your teepee and you keep sort of flipping your rope upward and pulling it so it gets up into that narrow space before they fork out the top. You do that and keep doing it, and then you tie that to one of your poles. And so now your poles are all tied together and they're standing up. And so the next thing is to find some kind of a cover. You could use plastic, you could use nylon, you could use canvas or fabric. Or you could just make up something. You could just put your thinking cap on. You can weave it with alders. That's what I did down by the highway. Or you could use hides, but you have to have a lot of hides for that. Anyway, or you could use carpet. Who knows? I never thought of that before. Yeah, that's good. That's big and easy. And it's certainly going to keep the water from going straight through. It'll get wet, and it'll probably drip after it gets certain wetness. You could put carpet on and cover it with plastic. And so on the inside, you wouldn't have that flammable plastic. Anyway, what you end up with... Don't look at my mess. What a mess. Okay, from that side at the bottom, all the way across to this side at the bottom, is 20 feet. So you have room in here. How much have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's the doorway, and then 9 chairs. So if you have a reuse center, recycle center, where you get free junk, you can go and get lazyboy chairs that have already seen their best day. They're not really good for having in the house, of course. You know, they look pretty crummy and they probably don't work perfectly. But you could put them in your teepee. See, and they're going to get worse because it's going to get rain on. So that one is falling apart. See, it already had rips in the arms. That one, full of all our teepee toys. Those are the drums for playing instruments in here. See, they're going to get dirty in here. The cats have ruined this one, the corner of that one. And this one is kind of broken. That one was just always filthy, I guess. There wasn't anything else that I could find that was wrong with it. Anyway, you just put them in your teepee and you have this wonderful place to go and relax. You can have a campfire. There's lots of room for a big campfire. Those are the aluminum foil from the dinner we had out here. It was solid ice out here. It was pretty bad. When we went in the house, we were so tired we just went in. We didn't clean up. And then who comes back out in the middle of the winter? Not me. And as time goes by, you'll get darkened walls from the smoke. The smoke goes straight up if you close the door. Now, if the door is open, like this is blowing open in there, you can see. There's 3 layers of this fabric. But as long as the wind cannot come in the doorway, see, it's supposed to be over like this. And this is another layer, which is also supposed to be over like that. But I wasn't going to have a campfire, so it didn't matter one hoot. Okay, so there it is. So now if I close the door like that, if I tied it closed or something, now when you have a campfire, there's no wind coming in, and that smoke will go straight up. But if you have wind coming in, the wind will blow the campfire across to the other side, hit the wall, circle back, and you'll end up with smoke down low. And everybody down low will start suffocating, coughing. Whoa, it's terrible in here, let's get outside. So you have to keep that door closed. And then, now when you put on your layer on the inside, this is the skirt. I see the skirt here. And there's a gap between there. You see, it's the thickness of those poles. So that's about, what, 3 or 4 inches? Anyway, there's a gap in there, and so when the wind hits the teepee, it may go through the outside fabric, and then it hits the inside fabric, and it creates an updraft, so all around the sides of the teepee, the air is being funneled upward. And that's the truth. And that's what I did, and you can do that too. You can put them everywhere you want them. You can have teepees by your pond or in the woods or near the house. The kids just love it. I mean, what better place than to have a campfire anytime you want. In the winter, in the summer. It gets pretty hot in here in the summer. And in the winter it's pretty cold, but you know, once you get a fire going, it's a nice place. I used to love coming in here and escaping from the kids. When the house was a big mess and everything was chaotic and I was overwhelmed, I would just come outside into the teepee and I would sit and write and maybe make a little campfire. Sometimes I'd make dinner over the campfire and then I'd call the kids from the house, "Dinner's ready in the teepee." Or sometimes we would just have hot dogs and marshmallows. Those were the kids' favorite foods. But you didn't have to go away to the cottage. You didn't have to go to the cabin. You didn't have to have a big campfire outside when it's too dry and it might burn everywhere, or when it's windy, or when it's kind of rainy. You know, you could have a campfire anytime you wanted. That is the treasures of a teepee. That is a wonderful place. This is just my way of doing it. There's a million ways to do it. You can do whatever you want. Okay, Nancy today saying you can do this at home. Those fingers are dirty because I've been digging asparagus. I don't always have dirty fingers. No. Actually, it's nail polish, you see. I'm not very good at nail polish yet. See ya.